All right, so we started the recording and I will go through very quickly the agenda, as I mentioned, and also Career Center services. So we have about 10 minutes, or not even, probably 7, to go through this. And after that, UCLA Extensions, Vivian will present on the Medical Device Engineering program through UCLA Extension. And then also we have a presentation from Loma Linda University's Orthotics and Prosthetics program. And from 5 o'clock on, you have a chance to talk to 3 practicing professionals, one with a medical device background and 2 with orthotics and prosthetics background. And Loma Linda University during the Loma Linda University presentation, you will also have a chance to ask questions from 2 current graduate students who will join us for that portion as well. So, orientation. No surprise, the Career Center offers counseling services. Of course, now everything is virtual, but you can sign up through your Handshake account for career counseling appointments. We help with resumes, personal statements, if you're applying to graduate programs, mock interviews, or anything that is related to career development, career planning. We also have drop-in hours every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. These are 15-minute sessions, which are limited to resume and cover letter critiques and job and internship advice. There is no wait time whatsoever. You will be seen almost immediately. Drop-in hours are not extremely busy these days. So if you have a quick question, please make sure you look us up. Pre-health services also include mock interviews for graduate programs, medical schools, dentistry programs, pharmacy, whatever you might be interested in. We review personal statements and give feedback when you start applying for graduate programs. And we also have a whole list of workshops related to healthcare. The summer offerings are, of course, a little bit less than the normal academic year, but fall, winter, and spring is very busy with workshops and programming. Fall quarter, as you may all know by now, it's going to be online, so all our offerings will be via Zoom. Then we'll see how winter and spring will shape up. Career guide. You have access to the PDF version of the career guide, and I strongly recommend to review that publication, because we have a great deal of advice through that publication. We have resume samples, we have cover letter templates, we have advice on interviewing, negotiating salaries. We have a whole chapter on career exploration and career development, how to look for job and internships. So make sure that you look it up, because you may find it extremely helpful. Then we have online resources. These are fairly new, all of them. They've been launched not this summer, last summer. So they are still kind of work in process, especially the website, but it is there with a lot of great information. So make sure that you look up the Pre-Health at UCLA website, and that you follow our Pre-Health at UCLA Facebook page. We do offer a couple of interesting series on the Facebook page. We have Alumni Spotlight, we have Student Organization Spotlight, and we record all our webinars, which can be viewed on the Facebook page as well. The Pre-Health newsletter goes out through your Handshake account. So you have to go to your Handshake account and indicate healthcare as an industry preference if you would like to receive it. Okay, so there is a question in the chat about the Facebook page recording. So the recording usually is posted maybe in a day or two after the actual webinar, and after that you will be able to review it. And the recording will also be posted on the UCLA YouTube channel. We revived that when the new situation with COVID-19 came about. And I will share that link with you after this presentation. Information sessions. So companies, employers, recruiters do host Zoom session to recruit UCLA talent. They sometimes come to recruit for an existing position or just to provide information about their company and possibly future positions or internship programs. I highly recommend to keep an eye out on Handshake, especially starting fall, because fall and winter is our strongest recruitment season. So if you are about to graduate or you want to look for an internship for next summer, please make sure that you take a look at the upcoming info sessions in the fall. We're gonna have a bunch of recruitment events as well. Everything will be posted on Handshake. Targeted events. So we have a series called Med Mentor Mondays. We have partnered with first-year medical school students from David Geffen School of Medicine, and they've been offering webinars, coffee chats, peer-to-peer advising to pre-med students. And all the things that we have done with them in the past that could be recorded is recorded, and it's accessible through the Pre-Health at UCLA Facebook page. Hidden Gems in Healthcare has one more programming coming up over the summer, and it's sports and wellness, and it's happening on the 27th. We also offer MCAT and GRE test prep support. We have strategy sessions for both of those tests. As you can see the dates, we have dates in August for both of those. And we also have practice tests coming up, one of each. The MCAT will be August 21st and the GRE August 28th. You can sign up through Handshake for those as well, and more information to come in the Handshake post as well. They are both in collaboration with Princeton Review. We are offering the same free practice test every quarter. So if you miss it or you cannot participate now, we'll be coming back with the same one in the fall, winter, and spring. Online resources, you may have heard about the UCLA One, which is our alumni network online. Technically, it's LinkedIn for Bruins, so make sure that you create a profile to interact with your fellow Bruins. There are many current students who are already on there, but you can connect with alumni as well. We have online workshops on resume writing, career fair prep, and interviewing, and we have a lot of resources through your Handshake account. Focus 2 is technically an assessment, self-assessment. So if you are still debating what to do with your major or what careers you might be suitable for, Focus 2 might help you figure out, based on your interest, personality, and skills, what you might be suited for. Vault is a platform that is great to research companies, industries, fields, to understand trends within a specific field or industry. It has industry guides and also has a pretty robust job and internship database. So I highly recommend to familiarize yourself with Vault. Going Global is for those of you who anticipate traveling abroad or across a nation, because you can look up technically any region in the world and do a little bit of research about cost of living, major companies, major industries in that area. So students love to use this resource when they know that they're going to study abroad, for example, and they just want to get to know the area or the region that they're going to a little bit better. Interview Stream is also something that we offer for you to be able to practice interviewing skills. Of course, as I mentioned, we do offer mock interviews as well, but this is something that you can do at any time when you have a little bit of free time, so feel free to use it. VMock is coming also with resume building, but that's gonna be launched sometime in the fall. Alumni services. So some of you might be graduating, and we'll find out soon just how many of you, because I do have a poll to kind of see who is in the audience. And if you are a senior, you might as well make yourself familiar with alumni services. Career Center does offer some alumni services that you can hang on to for a few years, but as you can see, the 3 month after graduation, you can practically enjoy the Career Center just as if you were a full-time enrolled student. If you need more information about alumni services, make sure that you reach out, or you can also go onto the Career Center website, career.ucla.edu, and click on alumni to read about our alumni services. Then, of course, we are all over the internet. I already mentioned Facebook, but we are also on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, we have a closed group for the UCLA Career Center. I believe you have to gain admission into that group, and once you do, you can leave it anytime if you want to. And yeah. And you can use any of these online platforms to keep abreast of what's happening at the Career Center, what events we are hosting, and what companies, employers, or recruiters will be present this time virtually at the Career Center. Any questions about services? All right. So if not, then the next presentation is Vivian's, and I will be stopping share in a minute. I just want you guys to take a look at this is the website address for the Medical Device Engineering program at the UCLA Extension, and this is their email. Oops, hold on. And I will stop share to give Vivian a chance to share her presentation.
Wonderful. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well, that you're safe and you're healthy. And I also wish that everyone lands on their dream jobs. Medical devices, the healthcare industry is a very wonderful, wonderful niche to be in. It's growing without leaps and bounds. And now with COVID, it even more validated its importance as a segment, a very big sector in the industry. My name is Vivian Taslakian. I am the program director for the engineering department at UCLA Extension. My colleague, Sarah Sussman, hi, Sarah. Yeah, her and I, we oversee 13 certificate programs. And by certificate, we mean these are programs, courses that we offer as part of professional development. It's above and beyond your bachelor's and master's degrees. Our students come to learn new skills or validate or enhance their existing skills in different fields. And our instructors are industry professionals, and most of them are also hiring managers because they work in the industries that they teach. And our enrollment is open enrollment, and we're very, very privileged to be offering 2 of our certificates that's very interesting to you here today. One of them is the medical device engineering, and the second one is biotechnology engineering. And what I want to do is share the information with you to familiarize you with what these certificate programs are. So you have the options and alternatives to pursue either the certificate program or just one course. So our programs are open enrollment, meaning we do not require GREs, we don't require the MCATs or any of these entry exams. It's open enrollment. Any professional, any student can come and take any course or sign up to any of our certificate programs. So now I'm presuming you are seeing my medical device engineering screen. Are you? Yes? Okay, fantastic. Yes. Fantastic. So the best way to find us is www.uclaextension.edu. So I'm going to just show you that. So let's start with www.uclaextension.edu. All right. And so here you will find 2,000 courses and 200 certificate programs, you get lost. The best is to search medical device. Engineering. And voila. All right. And so let me get rid of the Zoom panel. All right. Bear with me a second. And I searched, I found this one here, and it says certificate. So I am going to click on that. And right here is the landing page for our medical device engineering. Who really participates in our program? It would be candidates who are seeking career paths in the medical device engineering companies, such as St. Jude Medical, who makes pacemakers. They're now bought by Abbott Labs. Boston Scientific, who does the little nerve stimulus. Johnson & Johnson, Kite Pharma, Amgen, all these bio companies, Genentech, on and on, all these companies are the ones, students who are interested to go into those fields are our audience, are our prospect students. And so this program is perfect for those who want to pursue a myriad of paths in those fields. And I can take any questions you have. But what I want to do is I want to scroll down and show you what this program is about. This program is about 6 required courses. And after finishing the 6 courses, the student can achieve a certificate in medical device engineering. There are 5 required courses, as you can see. Here we go. Fundamentals of medical device engineering. You do not have necessarily to be an engineer. You could be a bio major or an engineering major. And then you can pursue different paths. We teach the regulatory affairs for medical devices. It's a huge topic for this field. We teach process development and quality systems for medical devices. A lot of QA, and that's a very prominent path. Should a student wants to pursue and go deep dive into that path. Biomaterials and biocompatibility, medical device manufacturing, processes, equipment, and techniques. And then the student has the choice to pick one elective for this certificate. We offer all the Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma courses that we also have a different specialization called Six Sigma specialization. So any of the courses from that will qualify as an elective, as well as you would see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 courses as an elective coming in from our biotechnology engineering. With that, let me just switch gears, and a sister certificate is our biotechnology engineering. I am going to search that, or else we get lost in our website. The best is to search, and voila, I found the certificate. I'm going to click on it. And here is a sister certificate. And it's pretty much geared towards the same audience, but this is more bio geared, meaning like, let's say, the Amgens of the world or the Kite Pharmas of the world, who are doing more bio related, not necessarily just drugs and pharmas or devices. This is like the bios, like the liquids, like the chemos. And so how would companies go about producing chemotherapies and those chemos? And that is what this certificate is geared towards. We offer 6 courses to graduate from this certificate program. There are 4 required and 2 electives. The required courses are Fundamentals of Biotechnology Engineering, Manufacturing Processes in Biotechnology, which is a little different than the medical device. Both require the clean rooms, but this is more geared towards the organisms and more the live cultures. How do we manufacture those? It just takes a little different discipline. And then we have process development and quality systems for biotechnology. All these topics must have a lot of quality assurance, quality control, regulations, and also FDA regulations and regulatory affairs for biotechnology. So these courses are required, and then the student has the choice to select from any of these electives. Very similar. We offer all the Lean Six Sigma courses, and also you would see that the flip is now the medical device courses are coming in here as electives. And so this is our program. And what I would do is maybe perhaps later we can provide you our contact information. But here, one thing is, if you scroll down on our website all the way down, you would see our contact information. Now, here we go, contact us. When you call this phone number and when you email this, you will reach Sarah Sussman with us today. And also this is our engineering and technology email that we will receive. So that's how you can reach us. And I'm going to also open the medical device and just show you that the same thing is on the medical devices engineering. Our instructors, they do work at Johnson & Johnson, they do work at the St. Jude's, they do work at the Kite Pharmas, on and on. And so we highly recommend that you participate. We would love to see you in our classes, and we would like to wish you the best in your career path. Here we go again, our contacts, same phone number, same email. Anytime you have questions, let us know. And if you have questions on the chat box, we can answer it right here too live. And that's an overview about our program through UCLA Extension.
Any questions, anyone? Please make sure that you put it in the Q&A so we can answer them.
And I'm going to stop sharing, I believe, in order to allow others to be able to share their screen. So let me see how I'm going to do that. Okay, gotta do this, stop sharing. There we go. All right. There are some chats, but I'm not sure if it's to me, but thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Vivian. And if you guys think of questions a little later, please feel free to put it in the Q&A. Just make sure that you address Vivian or Sarah so they know that the questions are for them. I shared both of their emails and the program email earlier in the chat. So yeah, feel free to put some questions in there for us. Before I give the go to Michael, I want to launch the poll because I am interested of who's out there. So please let us know what is your academic standing. We are at 69%. We can do better than that. Come on, guys. 73, yay. Let's do 90. 78. 82. Good job. 86. All right. So I'm going to end polling and I'm going to share results. So there are 35% seniors, 25% freshmen. Welcome, guys. Sophomores and juniors, 2020. Great. All right. Okay, Michael, the field is yours to introduce Loma Linda's program.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Michael Moore. I'm a professor and teacher at Loma Linda University Orthotics Prosthetics Department. And I'll go ahead and share my screen and get a little presentation going. We have two of our graduates and one who also teaches, who's going to be speaking later, and two of our current students who are there in their last year, who will be willing to answer questions at the end. And let me share my screen real quick here. Okay. So as I said, I'm a faculty at the University of Loma Linda University, and I'm also Director of Outreach and Service Learning. And so what is orthotics and prosthetics? That you're here looking for medical devices. Well, this is one aspect of medical devices that are fit directly to patients, made to them, custom made to a specific patient. At least most of the devices that we do are custom made. We're following biomechanical principles to fit these patients. We're either fitting musculoskeletal deficiencies, which are more in orthotics, or where we actually have amputations or people who are missing limbs. The overarching goals are to protect them from future damage. If you're an amputee, you're not going to be able to walk on something that's been cut. We need to reduce pain. So we need to relieve areas where there's pain so that they don't have that. We want to facilitate and restrict motion in some cases. So like if you have weak muscles, you can't use them. You need something to restrict the motion or to provide more function and improve your function, which is really our overarching goal, is to improve function as much as possible. So prosthetics are artificial limbs, and these are fit to a patient directly, and these are custom fit to each patient. And they will bear weight through other parts of their body. So basically, if you have a below the knee amputation, you're going to be bearing weight on soft tissue areas, and we're going to have to relieve the bony areas because those can't tolerate the pressure. We also need to suspend that prosthesis. That prosthesis needs to be held on, so we figure out different ways of doing that. And then again, to improve the function of all the daily activities, standing, mobility, sports, depending on where the patient is in their life cycle and what they're able to and interested in doing. So here's a few examples of different types of devices that we work with. The top left is like the ultimate. This is like a runner who's out there competing to race. That is a prosthesis that is made specifically for running. On the bottom left, you see a prosthesis that would be made for somebody who is going to be using it all the time. They can use it for maybe basketball or running and playing soccer, but they're not going to use it for track like the one up in the upper left. Example of a prosthetic on the right side are upper extremity prosthetics. We work with some of the biomechanical hands that have more hand function where the fingers move, etc. But on the bottom right, we have a hook device. You say, why would you use that anymore when you have the biomechanical ones? Well, if you have a rancher who's working with barbed wire and working on his tractor and all those kind of things, the biomechanical hand would not handle it. They break very quickly, and so they may have fine motor control, but they do not have the durability. So we work with different types of devices for different types of patients to help them function as best they can. In orthotics, it's where we're making braces, basically. If you think of Forrest Gump, that's probably the biggest one you would think of is a leg brace. That's the old style metal and leather type, but we make all kinds now. So in orthotics, we're trying to control or immobilize a limb or joint or body segment. One example might be a scoliosis brace, where we're trying to correct the scoliosis, the curve in their back. We're going to prevent them from getting worse, so we'll make a device to keep them straight. We'll have devices that assist with movement. You may have somebody who needs a hand splint that can't move their wrist, but they need to have the grasp. So there are devices that we make that allow them to be able to pinch and hold something. Reduce weight-bearing surfaces. One example of that could be just a foot orthotic going in the shoe. We need to redistribute forces in the bottom of the foot where there's pressure sores happening. Or if somebody fell off a house and crushed their heel bone, we may need to have them be able to walk without pain, and so we would provide a device that offloads that. Correct the shape or function, that would be like the scoliosis brace you mentioned earlier. Reducing pain, again, the one I mentioned earlier about landing on the heel, or any other area where we have pain, we want to reduce that by maybe immobilizing them. And then optimizing sports performance. If we have them, they want to be a runner and they have a weak muscle and they cannot get push-off out of it, they might get a spring-loaded carbon graphite orthosis to help them with running. So these are a couple examples. Now in orthotics, we actually have some devices that are pre-made that we fit to patients. That would be an example in the top upper left. That's a neck brace for somebody who's broken their neck or their muscles have gotten weak. The bottom left is a person with scoliosis. So let's go back. The middle top is a knee, ankle, foot orthosis, or KAFO as we'd like to call them. That would be for somebody who probably has a weak quad muscle, a weak muscle in their thigh. We need to keep their knee straight so that they can walk and their knee doesn't buckle on them. The bottom right is a baby who's wearing a helmet. Those are for babies whose heads have been misshaped, maybe in the birthing process, maybe afterward when they are lying on one side of their head too much. This helmet helps the head to grow into the anatomical shape. And then the braces that the little boy's wearing, those are ankle foot orthosis, probably one of the most made devices that we make. That kid may have cerebral palsy and needs to limit some motion so that they aren't tripping and things like that. So what's the process we go through? We have a team evaluation, and that's where we have the physical therapist, the physician, the orthotist, the family, the person who is needing the device. We talk about all the situations, what's going on in your life, what are you needing, and we meet together and kind of come up with a plan with what we're going to go with. Then we start the fabrication process. That could be casting, that could be measuring, different aspects, drawing, tracing, things like that, scanning if we're doing CAD type things. And then we start the actual fabricating of the device. Part of that is fine-tuning the fit of the socket or the part that we're making, or fine-tuning the alignment in prosthetics so that they can walk as normally as possible. Then we have cosmetic restoration. Some people, especially in America now, they want the high-tech look. I want to see that carbon graphite blade down there. Others want to have more of a shaped cover and something that they can hide, so we make that as well. And again, we get them to return to the functions that they want to do. And that means walking, standing, running, and other daily activities, as well as sports or whatever they're wanting to do. Here's a quick video that's of one of our trips. So that's just a brief look of some of the types of service learning opportunities we have at the university to go and be involved in prosthetics, orthotics. So what is the profession, and what do you have to do to become it? The ultimate in the profession in America is a certified prosthetist orthotist, is CPO for short. We manage all aspects of the patient's care when it comes to prosthetics and orthotics. We then help design and fabricate and fit the devices to the patient, making sure everything is correct. We do all follow-up care with them as far as fit and function to the device. So is this a career that's for you or that's in demand? First of all, they're expecting 72 million of us will be retired by 2030. And that is a huge increase because of the boomers retiring. There's also 53 million more diabetes have grown in the US since 1980. And the heart disease has increased 27%, and obesity has increased 22.3%. And these are all diseases that affect amputations, as well as strokes and other issues. So there's a huge number of people that are coming into their retirement years when they start having health problems that will be needing devices. 24% of the profession will be retired in the next 10 years. So we're not only having an increase in the demand, but there's an increase in the number of people that are needed to do it. So, and if you want to know, the average salary for a practitioner, the person who sees the patients, is $75,000 a year. And that will vary on where you live in the country, depending on, if you're in the South, it's a little less. If you're in big cities, it's quite a bit more. So our pathway here is to get your O&P master's degree. And our program has a 30-month program, which is 2.5 years. And once you finish and you graduate, you have your master's degree, but you're not done. You need to do your residency program. There are 2 residency options to go. There's a one residency that does orthotics and prosthetics in 18 months. And then the other option is to do 2 years of residency, one year for prosthetics and 1 year for orthotics. So that's 24 months. Once you're finished with your residency, you sit for your exams, and there are 3 exams in orthotics and 3 exams in prosthetics. And once you pass those exams, you are a CPO and you're ready to go anywhere. So most of the master's programs for orthotics and prosthetics, which it is, all programs in America require a master's degree. All but 2 of us are, you have to have your bachelor's degree when you come. Ours happens to be no bachelor's degree is required at the beginning. You can come in after 2 years of college if you met the prerequisites. When you finish another 2.5 years with us, you'll have your bachelor's and master's degrees. So you'll have a bachelor's degree in health sciences and a master's degree in orthotics and prosthetics. But if you do have a bachelor's degree, you're also welcome. You will end up with a bachelor's degree in orthotics and prosthetics. So just for the non-bachelor prepare applicants, you have to have 2 years of undergrad courses at an accredited institution, 96 quarter hours or 64 semester hours for the credit institution. And you need to meet all your minimum subject requirements, like your general ed requirements, et cetera, as well as the specific sciences that are required for the profession. The minimum GPA to get into our program is a 3.0 in science and non-science. And you're also required to do a minimum of 80 hours of clinical O&P observation. Now with COVID going on, we've had to be a little creative with those hours, but you are still required to get them. So here's our contact information. If you would take a picture of this screen, you can call Michelle Davis and talk to her directly, or you can text her, or you can email her. And as well as there is also the program information on there as well. But she can kind of counsel you through it. So are there any questions? And at this point, I'll also open it up for our students to be able to answer questions as well.
And I want to just make sure that Vivian knows that she has a question in the Q&A. And the question is, well, oh, you already answered it, I guess. Okay, so, and then there is a question for Michael. And I don't know, Michael, if you would like to introduce Jennifer and
Anthony.
to Anthony, yeah. I don't
Jennifer
think he's
Dowen,
here yet.
yes, and Anthony are both here, and they are currently students here at our program. So they're open to answer questions as well.
You have a question in the Q&A, Michael.
Okay.
And it says, do you need clinical hours if you have a BS already? How can one gain clinical experience?
So yes, you do need clinical hours, whether you have a bachelor's degree or not. And that's primarily, we want to make sure you know what prosthetics and orthotics is. And so you need to go and do observation hours in a clinic that does prosthetics and orthotics. And like I said, right now, that's a little tight because of COVID. Some places are not accepting people. So we do have ways of you to get familiar with the profession, and you can call the information and get that from us.
Perfect. All right, while we're waiting for questions, Jennifer, Anthony, would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about how you came upon of applying to this program and what are your career plans? Jennifer, would you like to start?
Yeah, for sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, good. So my name is Jennifer Dewan. So in our senior year, both Anthony and I got familiar with the program after, I'm sorry about that, I'm in clinic right now. This is a little off sound, but so I got familiar with the program after completing my BSc in Canada. So I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. I completed my master's in rehab and got familiar with the field. Worked in Langer Biomechanics, which is a manufacturing company that makes foot orthotics. Worked with them for about 4 years before doing my clinical, which is at Loma Linda. Great experience as it is, very creative field. And as Michael Moore, as you went through the slides, you could probably see very, very hands-on, very kind of problem solving. For those of you who are very creative, it isn't a very restrictive field. There's something for everyone within orthotics and prosthetics. We don't just look at one type of patient. We work with everyone, geriatrics, pediatrics, stroke patients, you name it, we see them all. So it has been a very rewarding sort of experience so far, and I'm very excited to be graduating very soon. So Anthony, you can add a little bit more to that.
Thank you. Anthony?
Yes, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Anthony Cias. I'm also a soon-to-be graduate along with Jennifer. So the field first got introduced to me in junior year through my high school. Someone came in to discuss like prosthetics and orthotics to me. So from there, I went to community college for Riverside City College, and I was able to get into the program without a bachelor's, as Michael Moore was pointing out. So it's gonna depend on the school you're at, the requirements, and but I was able to get in fairly easy, just had to do my observation hours as well. And since then, it's been really nice. Like the professors are really nice to talk to because a lot of them have just like years and years of experience. So even though like I don't have a long history of the field itself, the professors there really make sure that you get a handle of a lot of things there. And things like I really appreciate about the program too is that there's always just tons of volunteer opportunities to get into, just as like possibilities, crosswalks, like one of the ones that Moore does as well. Right now, I am working alongside mechanical engineers from Norco College. We work with their 3D printed hands, and we're currently fitting our patients. So it's a nice opportunity to work with other students from different fields, just to show like how this field can connect with other programs as well. And just like Jennifer said, like coming into here, you don't get to expect a lot of things. I found like many loves for new devices, such as cranial helmets. I never was aware of those, and now I just want to do those right after I graduate. So there's a lot of cool things that you can find within this program, and that's one of the things I appreciated.
Thank you so much. We have a few questions. So the first one is, Q&P is ONP is more like an engineering or more like clinical in nature? Anyone? Feel free to jump
I'll
in.
go ahead and answer that. It's actually more clinical, although because it's a small field and it's such a field that is where there is room for improvement. There's a lot of backyard engineers in our profession. So, and a lot of people do come into it from engineering. They might think that when they're making devices, they're going to be making them for people, but they find out, for individuals, but they find out, no, they're working at a desk. So maybe they'd rather be working with the people. So this is a good go-between. It just depends on where your interest is. If you're really more oriented towards, I want to design a specific device for a specific purpose, you're probably going to want to go more the engineering route, like what you just heard earlier. Or if you're wanting to work more with patients directly, probably a little more clinical.
The next question is, what does ONP look like on a daily basis? So that might be a good question for our professionals when they do come on. But Anthony or Jennifer, if you want to give us a little bit of an insight what it looks like from a graduate student's perspective, that would be lovely too.
Yeah, of course. So from the clinical observations that I've seen so far, you definitely get a mix of it's going to be dependent on what your clinic is going to be at. So you can see a lot of bracing, you can see a lot of prosthetics, or you can just do a lot of helmets. So on a day-to-day basis, there's going to be a lot of patient interaction, like you yourself really getting to know the patient itself and trying to fabricate a device that's going to fit their personal needs. So it's getting to connect with someone on a deeper level and trying to give them something that can serve them better every day.
I can
Anthony,
add a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Go, Jennifer.
Right.
Sorry.
I can add a little bit to that. Like Anthony mentioned, there is some fabrication involved. So it's very hands-on in terms of it's your device that you're fitting to your patient. So if you want to head in the back and add some padding, do something particular specific for your patient, that is something that we have a lot of freedom as clinicians. And as Anthony was saying, it's very personalized like that. So yeah, just like that.
Thank you. And Anthony, you have a question specifically for you. Anthony, how exactly did you approach clinics and ask for permission to observe? Did you send out cold emails or something similar? I guess Jennifer had the same route too. So go ahead, Anthony first and then Jennifer.
So I did a bit of a combination. Of course, I sent an email just so they can see that, but I also did a phone call. And also, if you have the ability, I also drove to the clinic just to introduce myself and ask in person. I feel that them seeing me in person really helped me secure a spot to observe them and just really get to introduce myself and talk to them about my interests. So call, email, and if you have the chance, just show up and introduce yourself.
Jennifer, would you have anything to add to that?
So my route was a little different because I completed my ONP Tech in Canada first. So I kind of got into the clinical sphere in a little bit of a different route. But as Anthony was saying, honestly, it's just getting out there, contacting people. ONP clinics are usually very open to people just being curious. Our field is so unique. You'll find very few clinics that will be close to, students or prospective students. So really just send out emails. And with COVID right now, maybe showing up at the front door isn't the best idea. But sort of making phone calls, emails, things like that, that's always the best route.
Thank you. While we're waiting for questions, I really want to introduce our professionals too, so they can become part of this conversation. I'm very excited to introduce two ONP professionals and Hannah, who has a medical device background. So we're going to start with you, Hannah, because you have helped me with, okay, one sec. Give me 1 minute. There we go. And let me see if I can share my screen. All right, Hannah, please introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your background.
So hi everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. My name is Hannah, and I'm from the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department from UCLA. I completed my undergrad in electrical engineering, and now I'm continuing with my PhD here. So I had the passion for wearable biomedical devices, and as a part of that, now the focus of my research is into the wearable biomarker monitoring platform. So with that, we are trying to alleviate the need for continuous visits to the clinics or continuous or like measurements or blood draws during the year, so we can have more continuous measurements from the patients and more non-invasively. So we do it through sweat and saliva, for example. And with that, we were able to actually test it for like some of the diabetic patients, some of the patients with mental health, different mental health status, or like the cystic fibrosis patients. So this is like a pretty involved field, and it has a lot of great opportunities.
Thank you so much. And we're gonna have Kadash and Amber join us as well. So please, Amber, introduce yourself. And then Kadash.
Hi, I'm trying to share my screen.
Then I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay, let me see if this will work.
Oh, hold on, because I may need to update you. Hold 1 sec. Okay, now you might.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, so hopefully you can all see that.
Yes.
Okay, good. So my name is Amber Rashidi. I am a certified orthotist prosthetist, or CPO. I work at Johnson's Orthopedic, which is a private office, primarily seeing pediatric patients. And then I also work at Loma Linda University as faculty as an instructor for their spinal courses and upper extremity orthotics. So I get kind of the best of both worlds, and that's the benefit of the O&P field. There's so many different directions you can take. You can work clinical, you can work in a hospital setting, you can work in research, helping to develop certain products. You can also work at the university and continue to help with the education side of it. So I actually entered into Loma Linda's program with a bachelor's degree, Bachelor's of Science in Kinesiology. Because it's still such a new program kind of on the West Coast, because there's only 2 schools in California. Most of them are on the East Coast. So I was actually the very first cohort 10 years ago for this program. So I already had my bachelor's, although now it's a much bigger opportunity for entry level. If you don't have your bachelor's, you can do the prereqs and start a master's program right away, which is a really big benefit. So I graduated from Loma Linda and obtained my master's degree in science in orthotics and prosthetics. I did my 2 residencies, both at Johnson's Orthopedic, and then I continued my employment there now for the last 6 years or so. And any questions on those type of pathways or different experiences, just let me know. You can type them in there. I also put 2 methods of kind of gathering more information. abcop.org at the bottom. That's our certification process through ABC, American Board Certification for Orthotics and Prosthetics. So that kind of gives you more information after you graduate for your exams. And then NCOPE is also another good website to maybe help find residencies or information about schooling. And to answer someone's question previously for places to look for observation hours, this is hopefully going to work. Okay, so this is NCOPE's website. Let me go back to show you where I went. So this is what it looks like on the home page. I'm trying to move the faces so I can click. Let's see. So at the top,
I don't
residency.
think I need to share again because it's
Oh,
still
okay.
your,
Sure.
yeah, it doesn't change.
Let me see if I.
Just renew the share.
1 second. Let's see. Do you guys see the page or just me?
Just you.
Just you.
Oh, well, that's okay. I can't find it. But if you go to NCOP's
You need the
website,
ncop.com.
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, stop your share and I found it already. I can share it with.
I can't find my screen to stop the share.
Okay.
Should be at the top.
I only have faces. I'm sorry.
Okay, don't worry. You're fine.
Oh, here, this might help.
Okay.
Oh yeah, thank you.
So that's the website you're hoping to find?
Yes, so if you click Residency Program Services, the top, and then scroll down to the bottom right, the little book, Residency Program Directory, the blue book, yeah, right there. So if you click there, those are all, it divides it into states, and those are all different O&P clinics that are offering residencies if you scroll down. And you can start contacting them for observation hours. Even though this is showing for residencies, that means they're open to having students and residents, so you can start contacting those to try to do observation hours. Or Loma Linda, Michelle can help. She'll connect you with someone like me who works at a clinic, and I organize a lot of students' observation hours, so they will definitely help you find a place to gain those hours to make sure you know what field you're getting into before you start the master's program.
Thank you. Kadesh, would you like to introduce yourself too?
Yes, of course. My name is Kadesh. Gale is my last name. And like Amber, I attended Loma Linda University for my master's degree in orthotics and prosthetics. Like Amber, before that, I was a kinesiology major. So I did obtain my bachelor's degree before going to Loma Linda. My pathway is a little bit different than most also, because I started out at a junior college and worked my way to private college, and then on to Loma Linda for my master's degree. And then prior to that, I was also in the military. So pathways are a little bit different. So there's always, you'll find within this career field, there are a lot of people that come from a lot of different backgrounds in order to get themselves into O&P. But once they do get in, they usually love it. What I will say it's different about our career field is as far as the medical devices go, we end up developing a relationship with each and every one of our patients because of the fact that the devices that they have are going to need constant adjustment. They're going to need refurbishing. They're going to need realignment. And 2, 3, 5, 7 years, they may even need a new device. And a lot of times those patients, if you're good, they'll come back to you and get something new. To answer one of the students' questions, our day-to-day, I would say, our calendar daily changes. So a normal clinic will start around 8 a.m., usually starting to see patients at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. And depending on the devices you're fitting, appointments can be anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes 3 hours. But it depends on the patients, and you usually see anywhere between 8 to 10 to 12, sometimes even 20 patients a day, depending on the clinic and depending on the load you're taking. Each one of those devices, as Professor Moore said, can be custom fit, as in they may just be something you're pulling off the shelf and you're adjusting it for the patient, or it can be something that's custom made by you oftentimes with help of a technician, but you're the one that's overseeing most of the patient care.
Kadash, we can't hear you. I
Oh,
think,
sorry.
yeah, no worries.
There we Okay, there we are. Now you can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Other than that, it's a very rewarding career field. You're getting to be, for lack of a better term, intimate with most of your patients and getting to know their backgrounds. And that's the part that I enjoy the most about it. You become family with a lot of your patients, and it makes it unique towards the career field.
So you kind of addressed the question that a student posted for both of you and Amber. And the question is, what made you decide to go into ONP?
I was like I said, I was a kinesiology major as a bachelor. And my focus was to actually teach high school. And something spoke to me and said, that's not for you. And then I spent a year looking for something within medical fields to address the needs that I wanted. So I looked and I looked at physical therapy. I looked at physician's assistants. I looked at everything you could think of as far as medical devices and medical careers go. But I couldn't quite find anything that suited my needs. And then my wife came across the O&P profession, and knowing my background as a mechanic, as a former mechanic, and knowing that I wanted to get into the medical field, it was perfect. I was able to work with my hands, and I was able to treat patients, and I was able to make a difference in people's lives, and that's what interested me the most. Amber?
Unmute. Okay, yeah, you'll definitely hear a lot of different backgrounds of how people have found O&P. And I'm so glad that you're hosting this to just share more about the orthotics and prosthetics field, because a lot of people don't know about it. And I was very naive in the beginning. I started in physical therapy. I worked as an aide for 6 years, and I saw lots of patients with orthotic devices, a few with prosthetic devices, and I ultimately just assumed it was a hospital fitting it or the doctor fitting it. I didn't realize there was a specialty, like a specific field, where they're very customized and fine-tuned fit for the best alignment possible to help improve patients. So I switched paths as soon as I found out that there was something different available to me, which that background helped. It definitely helps having some type of like kinesiology background or study of motion, the body, having your anatomy, those prerequisites help prepare you. It definitely helps if you're fairly good with your hands for fabrication, and just being flexible and really listening to what specific goals the patient needs, because sometimes we want to fix everything, but that may not be what the patient needs. You have to meet their specific goals. So being a good listener helps in this field also.
Thank you. Vivian, you had a question earlier, and I really want to hear the answer to. The question was, who usually applies to the medical device program, whether they need a BA or a BS in order to apply? What was the answer to that?
Sure, I'm going to answer that, and I want to add to the prosthetic discussion, if I may.
Sure.
Okay, so the answer is usually we do require a little technical background. Some bachelor's degree will help. Some molecular biology background will help in our certificates. So if you're going to be a bachelor's graduate, that is wonderful. Our instructors are very helpful, they're accommodating, but we do require, some of the courses will require a little bit molecular biology because of this RNA information, or you guys know these things much better. I can see the audience here is very technical. And so, yeah, a little bachelor's will help, whether it's engineering or biology. we would prefer in those 2 certificates.
Thank you.
But I do want to share something if there's time.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to say something. 18 years ago, my nephew, my brother's son, 3rd son, was just born with a missing arm. It was just a destiny. No one knows, no doctors know, no one knows why this baby was born with a missing arm. It's missing right from here, right from there on his right arm. And from the time he was born, they told us, you have to go to Shriners Hospital in LA because we live in the valley, San Fernando Valley. And all the stories that you guys are saying, we are the users. We use all those services. I have taken my nephew many times to Shriners Hospital to fit him the prostheses. And just like Kaddish was saying, no appointment was 45 minutes, Kaddish. It was half a day. And the thing is, people grow. So this baby grows. And right now he is 6'2". And for the last 2 years, because he's having growth spurts, he's not wearing prosthesis. So prosthesis is just like shoes. Just like, we outgrow shoes, babies. And so there's constantly, we had to go to Shriners. Shriners was always booked. We always had to PR, be nice to them to give us appointments. It is, baby boomers are on top of this career. And so I noticed that it's very important that the young generation also learn this skill. And we follow every innovation. He is armed, so fingers is the thing. So he has this thing now, that's what he does. Now he has the hook. He had the hook like Captain Hook, because it gives him more grip. Michael is laughing. So we are the user. Everything you're saying is near and dear to me. We get so much attached to the folks who make the thing with gypsums, and many visits, 6 months it takes for a prosthesis to be fitted well. But then it's not just the folks who do fit, but then there are the technicians who worked with him after the appointments to be able to do exercises, to cut, and to be able to use the hand. And so there's so many fields in this area. We follow every innovation, and we found out that similar to Loma Linda's innovations, other universities also, and do not underestimate the soldiers that come in with a lot of amputated limbs. So there's so much need for this industry. And that is my 2 cents.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you. The reason I'm very excited about this program is because both medical devices and orthotics and prosthetics seem to be an intersection of innovation, creativity, technical interest, and medical interest. So that's why I brought the 2 together in this program. But I also want to hear from Hannah. How did you get into the medical devices as an engineer?
Actually, this was more like when I was taking the electrical engineering classes, then I thought it is not just like good enough to have circuits be developed and no use to it. And especially when we have growing population of people coming into the world, and like they're coming to work and everything, but it takes forever literally to have your medical results come back to you, or like explain everything to every doctor that you visit, and having them have a background about what you have done before, about any of your medical history, what is your lifestyle, and how can they actually prescribe something depending on how you live. So actually making the healthcare more personalized for however your body is used to process the outside world. So with that, then I thought this should be more automated, and it should bring on the science from like the electrical background, some engineering, into making people's lives easier, and especially these days that we're attached to our phones. So it will be the best option to have everything synced and receive the data and everything. So then with that, during undergrad, I started working in a computer science lab to work with children with asthma and develop different sets of sensors that we could predict when the children would have like asthma attack. And that worked. So we could actually test it in the UCLA hospital. So it was very exciting and rewarding to see that. But then these sensors are still like big to be developed. Then they need to be reduced in size, and they need to be more wearable, and they need to become skin-like, so people do not have to carry like big bunch of different sensors for different things. And so with that, I thought it would be better to have more like chemical sensors involved. And that's how we are developing more of like the skin-like electrochemical sensors to look deeper into the body's chemistry, and then we can figure out what is each person's lifestyle and how their profiles are changing during a day. And they do not need to even like poke their hands, for example, if they're diabetic, to get their blood samples every day before and after each of the meals. It's super painful. So with this method, we can actually non-invasively get your sweat, we can get your saliva, and then with the wearable, it can just measure any of your biomarkers during a day without you having the problem. So that was the rewarding part for me, to see that actually we can automate everything, and we can have a better healthcare for people. So that was the journey.
Thank you for
and I will
sharing.
be super happy to help answer any of the questions related.
Thank you for sharing that. I see some engineering students very interested in healthcare. So I think the medical device and apparently the prosthetics and orthotics career path might be a good fit for people who are technically inclined, so to speak. We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A. The first one is for Amber. You mentioned that you were a PT aide before switching to ONP. Could you elaborate a bit more on how you decided you wanted to do ONP instead?
Yes, so they're both very rewarding careers, helping someone reduce their pain to get them back to normal function. But as I started to see patients with devices and started researching it more, I started doing my observation hours, and it only took one patient. I shadowed one patient for 3 hours, a prosthetic patient, and I was just overwhelmed. I was like, this is what I want to do. So I just started, researching and observing more and just making sure that it was a fit for me. And it kind of, because we do use a lot of rehab in our field. I work with physical therapists every day. I'm on the phone with them. I'm sending videos for gait analysis. It's kind of working both together. So it was a good fit for me personally. It just was what made sense. I don't know how to explain that.
That's perfect. Thank you. And the next question is for anyone at Loma Linda. I'm looking at the curriculum right now, and I don't see any courses that explicitly say engineering, but I assume people in the ONP field would have to know some engineering, right? Is it included in courses I see under the orthotics and prosthetics track?
So I'll answer first, but we can have our students and former students all answer that question if we need. But it's not an engineering field, so we do not have specific engineering classes, although there are biomechatronics and electronics and other courses that are very much oriented in that direction. So that would be the quick answer, but I would rather hear from some of the students and former students what they think of that.
Anthony, Jennifer?
Yes. I did not take any engineering courses. It was not required of me to get into the program. So the answer to that question, no, it was not required for my case, and probably the same for Jennifer as well.
So once you're in the program, you have an opportunity to do a research project. So you can choose something more engineer based, and there's definitely professors there who have engineering backgrounds who can help. Or you can pair with, like you said, Norco College or UCLA. You can get together with other engineering students to help in your research. I personally, for my research, was for sensory feedback in like a terminal device, a prosthetic hook. So even though it wasn't myoelectric, it was a prosthetic hook to give them feedback so they knew how much pressure was on an object. So that was my research. You can kind of pave your way with that. If you want to have more engineering, you can choose that. But the specific classes are not required, but they will help you with the research aspect.
And just to add to that, a lot of the core principles, like Professor Moore was saying, biomechatronics and all that, they're not explicitly engineering, but yeah, a lot of the sort of basis of what we do does have a lot of principles that are very much engineering. So it's not labeled as engineering, but there are concepts that are kind of integrated into what we do. So yeah.
Great. So while we are waiting for questions, I really like to always ask all our guest speakers if you could give one advice to students who would like to explore, investigate your field, what that advice would be, or a resource that you would want to share to make sure that they have all the information they need to make a good decision for themselves. I would really appreciate your input. Jennifer, you're on my screen, so would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. I think an important piece of advice that I was given before kind of getting into the field was getting that clinical experience, especially for O&P. It is a very unique field at the end of the day, and don't just enter the field blindly thinking that, you know, it sounds cool, bionic arms, and there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of different layers to prosthetics and orthotics that that you should really kind of look into and do your research. Don't just go into something. I'm glad everyone that's kind of tuned in right now is here. So it already shows your interest. But after this call, go out and do your research a bit more. And that's going to really help you in the long run.
Thank you. My next person on my screen is Amber.
I definitely agree. Do your research, do observation hours if you can. I already shared the 2 websites that I just went to town with when I was a student entering the field. You can even contact them. They'll put you in contact, hopefully in the right direction if you're having a hard time finding anybody who will help answer questions. But even attending today is a great start. You have all of our contact information. You can contact Michelle at Loma Linda. She's a great resource. She'll send you in my direction if you just want to shadow for a day. It's just really truly understanding what is involved to be a certified practitioner, because it's not just one thing. We see head to toe every day, every hour. It's something different. It's never the same. So just really understanding the whole picture of O&P before you dedicate 2.5 years and 2 years of residency and exams.
Thank you. Michael?
Yes, everything is good that's been said so far. You know, I liked what Vivian said. She has real experience with it, and I have to agree with this, the observation hours and getting out there and seeing what you can. That's very important. I would also, if you're thinking of going into this field, anything you can do to improve your hand skills would be helpful, I think. So that would be something I would add.
Perfect. Anthony?
Yeah, just for any advice, just like people have mentioned, even though the program says 80 hours is like the minimum you can do, I would recommend just,
Get the dog out.
a lot.
And make sure the door is closed because he was out.
You tell them. But yeah, really try to go above and beyond. I know it's a lot easier said than done, especially in this era right now. But I feel if you go more than just the minimum 80 hours, you'll get like a true feel of the program itself. So just do your best, try to go above and beyond, get as much experience as you can before you enter the program.
Perfect. I'm so sorry about that. My dog just escaped. Give me a heart attack. So, Kadash, would you like to go next so we can have everybody with the ONP background?
Yes, of course. I think everybody touched on the observation hours. 80 hours does seem kind of daunting, but like Amber said, it can be, this is the matter of, you know, could be 7 years of your life that you're dedicating to OMP before you start your profession. So you want, and not to mention the money that you're investing as far as tuition and student loans. So you want to be sure that this is the career field for you. The observation hours do help highlight some of the things that we do professionally each and every day. And just like Amber, my first day of observation hours, I saw somebody walk for the first time again, and that's when I realized, you know, this was for me. And also visiting the schools, visiting the institutions, visiting Loma Linda, visiting Cal State Dominguez Hills, getting tours of their campuses to see what it is you're investing in, and also what it is that that the beginning stages of this career field look like, along with visiting the clinics, so you can see exactly what you're investing in, and where you're going to be setting up your roots, you know, for the next few years. So that would be my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. Vivian, would you like to say something about the 2 certificate programs that you're coordinating, what your recommendations are, advice for students who might consider it?
Actually, hearing the conversations, I would say either engineering or biology background will apply. Either fields will have career paths with the courses in the 2 certificates.
Thanks.
And I want to add that anyone can just take one course. If you think one of the courses may apply, solidify your bachelor's path, then you could just take one course.
Thank you so much. Hannah, would you like to add something for students who have an interest in medical devices?
For sure. So I would say I cannot like say how valuable the previous comments were. For sure, you have to do your research and see what you're interested in. But again, like very good advice that I heard and like I still carry is what you like to do, like even at 2 a.m. and that keeps you up. That's what you're gonna do, like for whatever profession that you want to. And to go in, and I cannot do that. You're gonna move mountains if you want to do something. So if you're interested in that, make sure you're gonna get to the bottom of it, even if you have to like go knock at like every research lab at your university or like any local research lab, then go and ask people and just to start observing people and do something that relates to what you like to do. And with that, then you're going to start to figure out, oh, what is my interest? And then with that, you're going to find where you're going to grow and you're going to have a future.
Thank you. We have 2 questions in the Q&A. So how are your hours and what is work-life balance look like? So anyone would like to tackle that one?
I can take a shot at that. So for engineering, the work-life balance is a bit, one very good comment is engineering is the teamwork. So you pretty much have to have like a social life along with doing your profession. And I would say it depends, and you're going to define your own work-life balance, but mostly even like during the PhD, it gets more hardcore because it can vary from like 40 hours to 80 hours a week. But at the end of the day, like I am involved with many of the social activities with many people, like doing extracurriculars, taking care of myself, taking care of my family, and everything that corresponds to that, and at the same time do research. So you're going to find time with engineering, I would say.
Anyone else would like to add to that?
Yes, as far as O&P goes, like I said, a normal clinic will run Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Most clinics will have some sort of on-call that you'll have to do at night to service certain hospitals. And on the weekends, it depends on each clinic. It kind of varies. As far as a balance between work life and home life, it does become a little bit hectic because the work never ends. There's always work to be done with an O&P. So yeah, it's definitely something you have to stay, I guess, vigilant and make sure that you are the proprietor of your own work life and your own home life, and make sure that the two stay separate. Make sure that you do clock out at 5 p.m. when you can on those days.
Turns out it's difficult to work from home. It's hard to clock out when your computer is in the living room, right? We have one more question, and it says that one of our panelists, I think Michael, this was you who mentioned that hand skills are important. And what did you mean by that?
Yeah, hand skills are, well, here's an example. One of the first things they do, or sometimes they do at the first clinic or first lab they have, is they're given a hammer and a nail, and they're told to put these two pieces of wood together. Some people have never held a hammer in their life and don't know how to do that. They're going to be working with tools their whole life if you're an O&P. So that's what I was referring to is knowing how to use a tool, different types of tools, different types of things, just working with your hands. That's what I meant by hand skills.
Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Some advice that I've always been told, if you're very new and you're interested, to maybe even take a ceramics course just to see how well you can do fine motor skills and work with your hands. It will help a lot in this field if you do that ahead of time, because we're shaping limbs and you will be modifying with plaster to recreate and create space or take away space. So just kind of seeing how well you do in a ceramics course and as an elective, and see if that interests you.
That's, I think, a great advice. And it's like I said, these are very creative and innovative fields. So I think a lot of people who have that type of interest would find it very fascinating to build things with purpose on top of everything. We are at 5:30, well, 5:31, be exact. Thank you so much for your time. I hope everyone's okay if I share their contact information with the audience. And again, thank you. This was a great professional development for myself as well. I learned a lot about the programs and about these amazing career fields. I will make sure to share all your resources that you have provided and the websites that I have access to. And if you want me to share anything else, just send it my way and I will put it in the follow-up email that will go out to everybody who have participated. Thank you again for your time. Have a wonderful week. And hopefully we'll get to work together again soon.